Hey guys, your boy Grizzly here. I'm here to share with you the latest patch notes of the day. Those were released earlier, a few hours back. There have been some major changes and some others that are not that significant, some bug fixes and some balancing. Let's start with probably the most global change of all, and that's the passive point respecking cost reduction. The gold cost for respecking a passive point in your skill tree used to be scaling way too aggressively with the leveling. So you start with something like 100 gold on level 2, and you get somewhere around 5k plus around level 70. I think it's fair to say that this is absolutely required as a change since it's early access in the game and a lot of people haven't reached that point when they can afford respecting right away. Especially with the Stormweaver being nerfed in the previous patch, there were cases in which players couldn't afford to respect their character and were forced to throw away their whole progress. I actually know some people that were so disappointed that decided to completely stop with the game. You can see how such things can be frustrating. Therefore, I suggest respects to be more accessible, if not free. This will allow people trying new stuff more often. Moving on, another crucial change is the Act 2 Trial of Sekemas. This one had quite a few issues, I'd say, and one of them was the whole honor system, and you're being penalized way too much honor during the trial. Some bugs were found in process when they were trying to reduce that, such as getting triple the damage. It was way too penalizing for melee characters. That's why they came up with a solution which allows you to have more damage reduction on honor damage when you're closer to your target. One of the things they implemented now with the whole honor damage system is that it now scales down based on distance to enemies, meaning if you're a melee character, you receive 35% less honor damage. The further you are from the target, the more honor you will lose. There was a bug in which damage over time effects were dealing twice the damage to your honor as intended, and also your honor resistance wasn't fully applying. In my opinion, this is a good change, but at the end of the day, those challenges seem to be a little longer than they should. For example, if you need to get your like third and fourth ascendancy point, maybe they should find some kind of a sweet spot. At least in my experience, I was doing 2 floors in something like an hour or so. Perhaps they can come up with something like reducing the rooms that you have to enter instead of 10 or 8 rooms. I'm not sure how many they are, but they could probably reduce this amount and let's say you can just enter like 5 rooms per floor or make the second and third floor shorter. Moving on to the end game and monster balance changes. A lot of people have complained from the old death effects in the end game, so GG had took this into consideration and they made a few readjustments. They've now removed the inherent resistant penalties of the maps. You used to get penalized on tier 6, tier level and higher. You no longer have that. It's all gonna be the same now across the whole endgame. Something else that needed to be done as well is the chaos damage being nerfed, so they actually did that. They also nerfed critical strike for monsters. Speaking of chaos damage, the purple explosive from the rare monsters have also been nerfed. Seems like they did those changes in order to give us an endgame that's more accessible and survivable, ultimately more enjoyable, even for more casual players. Moving on, there are other character and item balances. They've made some changes to the charms. They've also added a new cluster in the passive skill tree. The electrocute is now harder to build up, although it doesn't penalize your damage anymore. The latest part from the patch notes is regarding skill and support gems. Basically, they've told us that they had to nerf a few skill gems so far, and they've made some improvements to other skills such as Rolling Slam. They've also added 2 new support gems, the Tremor and Bidding support gems. Tremor will allow you to add more aftershocks to your skills, but it's gonna penalize your damage. The Bidding support gem will give more damage to your command skills of supported minions. The Elemental Exposure support gems will no longer penalize your damage for supported skills. What's different is now that they're gonna cost more mana. I believe this was for the most part. I think that most of these changes are reasonable. Again, What I think is that the respects should be less penalizing and they should probably nerf those even more. Please let me know what you guys think in the comments and see you soon. Grizzly out.